What I believed to be a typical marriage took an unexpected turn one day. As I was tidying up, my stepson and his friend unexpectedly appeared at the house. The quietude. As I leaned down to clean the large white couches, the door burst open with a loud bang. Startled for a moment, I could still hear the vacuum humming, which made it hard to see who had entered. As I glanced over, there stood my stepson Adrian alongside his friend, a strikingly athletic young man with dark skin, framed in the doorway. Adrian, my 19-year-old stepson, bore no resemblance to his father at all. In contrast to his father's stern presence, Adrian's youthful visage was often adorned with a hint of playful mischief. His hair flowed in shades of deep brown, while his skin radiated a warm, sun-kissed glow. His friend had a similar air, sporting a slightly disheveled look, yet radiating that easygoing spirit that often accompanies youth. "Mother?" Adrian's voice carried a hint of surprise, yet it was laced with a gentle smile. "What brings you to this place at such an hour?" Adrian's voice pulled me from my thoughts, and before I knew it, I had switched off the vacuum and risen to my feet. As I went about my day, I felt the strap of my tank top slide off my shoulder. In that moment, I instinctively reached to fix it, a small yet familiar struggle in the narrative of my life. Yet as his friend's eyes lingered on me, a wave of shyness washed over me. My cheeks felt like they were on fire. "I was merely tidying up," I replied, attempting to mask the astonishment in my tone. "What brings you all here at such an early hour? Shouldn't you be at school right now?" Adrian ran a hand through his hair, a light chuckle escaping his lips as he shared a moment of joy. "Today, we set off early, eager to spend some time with Tom. But I never imagined I would find you in this moment." Tom, a companion of Adrian, took a small step forward, offering me a subtle smile. As his gaze swept over me, a sense of unease washed over me, yet in that moment that gaze enveloped me with an unusual intrigue. Adrian sat beside him with a certain naivety, yet the intensity in Tom's eyes hinted at unspoken truths, stirring a sense of unease within me. Adrian shrugged and spoke nonchalantly, as if the matter held no weight at all. "I had a feeling I'd catch you tidying up when I got back, but I never imagined you'd look this amazing," he remarked, his eyes twinkling with mischief. As Tom slipped off his shoes, a look of surprise danced across his face, accompanied by a bright smile. "Adrian, is it true that your mom is 42 years old?" he inquired, lifting his brows in curiosity. In the quiet moment, I caught the sound of Adrian's soft laughter. "Absolutely, Tom. Why, does she seem aged in your eyes?" Tom, his gaze sweeping across me, responded without hesitation. "Absolutely not. Your youthful appearance and undeniable charm are truly captivating." His voice enveloped listeners in a gentle and heartfelt embrace. In that instant, I became aware of how I became self-conscious of my casual outfit, suddenly aware of how it might appear. With a gentle, bashful shrug of my shoulder, I expressed my gratitude, a spontaneous smile blossoming on my face. Adrian and Tom made their way to the living room, where they powered up the PlayStation. They sank into the couch, completely immersed in the game before them. This moment inspired me to spruce up the rest of the living room. With a dust rag in hand, I began to weave a tale of tidiness around the TV, each swipe a chapter in my quest for a spotless space. As I wiped the sides of the television, a fleeting glance from the corner of my eye revealed that Adrian and Tom were observing my every move. They had both paused their game, silently watching me with keen interest. Initially, a sense of unease washed over me, yet beneath the surface, I couldn't help but acknowledge my fondness for the spotlight. A wave of youthfulness washed over me, making me feel more appealing than ever. Yet, choosing not to linger on it for long, I gathered my thoughts and made my way to the kitchen. Eventually, Adrian wandered into the kitchen, claiming he was in need of a cup of coffee. "Would you be able to whip up some iced coffee for us?" he inquired, his gaze pure and untainted. As I stood atop the chair, reaching deep into the kitchen cabinets, I found myself leaning forward, immersed in the task at hand. I glanced up and replied, "Absolutely, I'll get started on it right now." Yet, Adrian's gaze lingered longer than expected, and I wasn't sure how to interpret it, weaving an unspoken narrative between us. The intensity and significance reflected in his gaze sent a thrill through me, if only for an instant. I brewed the coffee and made my way back to the living room. Adrian and Tom continued their adventure in the game. I passed them their iced coffees and settled beside them, a comforting warmth enveloping me in their presence. Tom, ever the storyteller, began weaving tales about strategies in the game, and Adrian eagerly chimed in. Yet, in that moment, Tom's phone chimed, revealing a call from his family. "I must take my leave," he declared, rising swiftly to his feet. Adrian gave a slight shrug. "Don't worry, you'll be back around soon," he said. Once Tom dashed out, the living room was enveloped in a hush, with only Adrian and me remaining. The gentle hum of the game console filled the air as Adrian glanced my way, a subtle smile playing on his lips. "There's a unique spark in you today," he remarked, his tone inviting and clearly attentive. In that moment, I noticed a shift in the mood, something subtle, yet oddly hard to explain. Adrian shattered the stillness with a hearty inhale, his expression adorned with a mischievous smile. "It seems like it was meant to be that Tom departed," he remarked. He looked at me with a focus that made the room feel quieter than it was. "I've been hoping for an opportunity to connect with you since you became part of our family, but it seems like the moment never quite arrived." His words took me by surprise, leaving me momentarily speechless. It dawned on me that my fingers were wrapped around my coffee mug with an intensity that felt almost instinctual. It was as if his words danced around me, elusive and just out of reach, leaving me in a haze of uncertainty, perhaps because I wasn't ready to listen. For a fleeting instant, our gazes intertwined, yet I swiftly averted my eyes. "What makes you interested in something like that?" I inquired, my voice laced with a hint of apprehension. Adrian leaned in slightly, a casual shrug accompanying his movement on the couch. His expression transformed into one of greater gravity, and paired with his assured stance, it left me momentarily speechless. He mentioned that he understands his father doesn't bring you joy. "When I gaze upon you, it feels as though you're on a quest for something beyond the present moment. It feels as though the spotlight is just out of reach." My heart began to race, echoing in my chest. Listening to those words was a mix of embarrassment and irresistible allure. I tried to keep my composure around Adrian, but the warmth creeping up my cheeks gave away my inner turmoil. "Adrian, it's best to choose your words more carefully." I found the words to respond, my voice quivering just a bit. Yet, as I gazed at him, I couldn't ignore the spark of thrill that his taboo words sparked inside me. Adrian paused, his gaze fixed intently on me. "You're right," he murmured, his voice taking on a richer, more resonant quality. Perhaps it's not my place, yet the reality is undeniable, and I felt compelled to share it. It felt as though the distance that once separated us had nearly vanished. He was so near that I could sense the warmth of his breath. He placed his coffee mug down and leaned closer to me. "This coffee is truly delightful," he remarked, his voice infused with a warmth that left me feeling utterly vulnerable. Then, after a moment of stillness, he leaned in closer than usual, his gesture unexpectedly tender. A surge of astonishment intertwined with a comforting glow enveloped me completely. I found myself completely still. Actually, I stayed right where I was. Even if I wished to move, the enchantment of the moment held me utterly still. Adrian held his ground, his gaze unwavering as it remained fixed on me. As his lips drew closer to mine once more, I found myself unable to muster the will to push him away. I stood frozen, unsure how to react to what was unfolding. We shared a brief moment of connection, one that left me unsettled and unsure of what to make of it. It was as if the clock had paused, holding its breath in anticipation. On the brink of the unknown, my heart raced with a blend of trepidation and exhilarating thrill. Adrian's presence stirred a mix of unfamiliar emotions that I struggled to process. Yet, beneath the surface, an inner whisper urged me that this was not the way it should be. As our lips finally separated, I found myself breathless, my mind a whirlwind of thoughts. "Adrian, this is a tale that unfolds." I started, yet the words faded away before they could escape my lips. He softly interjected, his voice steady yet resolute, expressing, "I understand, but I cannot conceal my emotions, and I sense that you share some feelings for me as well." His words sent shivers down my spine, yet they also captivated me, pulling me closer like an irresistible force. As I lowered my eyes to the ground, I wished for the whirlwind of thoughts in my head to find some semblance of order. Yet, in that moment, Adrian's presence shattered every barrier, every logical thought I held. Adrian paused for a moment, inhaling deeply as he prepared for what was to come. His eyes sparkled with a fierce resolve. In an instant, he stood tall and approached once more, inching forward, keenly observing each subtle shift in my actions. He gently steadied me with a hand on my side, a gesture that caught me off guard. In that fleeting instant, the air seemed to vanish. My heart pounded fiercely within me. As our gazes met once more, the weight of the moment enveloped us, leaving no room for distraction. Adrian drew me in a bit tighter, and this time our lips connected in a kiss that was richer and more fervent than ever. As his warmth enveloped me, my body reacted instinctively, and the world around me fell silent, leaving only the essence of the moment. As the fog of my thoughts deepened, I felt myself surrendering to him. But then, the scene changed in an instant. The room whirled around me, casting me into a haze of confusion. Before I even knew it, I found myself on the couch, still in the same clothes I had worn while cleaning, reflecting on the moment that changed everything. My thoughts swirled, grappling with the events that had just unfolded as I pondered each fleeting moment. Adrian's warmth still lingered on my skin, yet the tempest of feelings within me was undeniable. My thoughts wove a tapestry of narratives. What truly unfolded? What part of it truly happened? And above all, when my husband returned home, would everything ever return to the way it used to be? What path might lead us back to the familiar? I sprang to my feet and made my way to the shower. The scalding water bit at my skin, a desperate attempt to cleanse the turmoil swirling in my thoughts. Yet beneath the surface, a part of me sensed an impending fracture. My mind was consumed with the events that unfolded, pondering their significance and the cost that awaited me in the aftermath.